Welcome back, guys. This is Atlakat, and I'm coming back with you with another Steel Division 2 video. So, for this historical battle, we're only allowed to use a battalion size, I guess you could say, unit. So we can't use an entire division. We're all based around either infantry, tank, mechanized infantry, or infantry. There's no divisions here. So each one is going to be responsible for certain things. Now, the big difference in these type of matches, in this historical battalion match, is we're only allowed to play with 15 cards. So that is per phase. So I have 15 tanks in the first phase. I do also have 4 supply trucks and 1 commander. So I have to make my points count. So I can only bring out 15 tanks, 2 supply trucks, or 13 tanks, any type of combination like that, but it has to only be 15 cards. In the last 30 minutes of the game, we're allowed to bring everything else out. So we have a limited amount of units. We can't sacrifice too many of our units out there, and we have to be very economical. And that's something you guys will see in the match later on. We're going to be only playing with tanks, so we're the tank guy. We're only using Panzer IVs, nothing else, no other supplies. And this is going to be an interesting game because it's going to be on the mode breakthrough. It's not meeting engagement. It's not closer engagement. This is just a breakthrough. So we're going to be playing defensive. We're not allowed to attack. And the enemy can only attack us. So they have all the advantage in the sense of advantage. And we'll see how it plays out considering the fact that we have a limited amount of units. So we're looking at the historical battalion. Oops, sorry guys. Battalion 4B4 that we took part in. This was last Saturday. It was an event that the Kingdom has every single Saturday. We will have another one of these historical battalions on Saturday, and depending on how many people show up, we might also live stream it, but I think we're just going to do a recording just like this one. And remember, guys, like our content. It helps out the channel quite a lot. Subscribe. On our charts, we're seeing that only 21% of the people who are watching are actually subscribed. So give us a like, guys. Subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot. We also have a raffle coming up as soon as we hit 150 subscribers. We'll be giving out 3 DLCs or 1 game of Steel Division out to the winners of the raffle. So we got the new DLC also dropping pretty soon, so there might be a quick way to get a copy of the new DLC. Show us a lot of support, and we'll be doing more of these little special events with the Kingdom as well. Really cool clan to be part of. This is the second game or Saturday game we've played with them. This one was historical, like I said in the intro. You know, we are in charge with the of the Panzer IVs. It's a little bit different viewpoint than we're used to. Usually it's a viewpoint of me playing the game, my point of view of the game when I'm playing. Here it's a little bit different because we're only controlling the battalion. So we have 15 tanks, I believe, on the field, 1 commander, and 14 individual panzers. We're in charge of any type of breakthrough. We have our panzer tanks in the back as fire support, and their job is going to be to plug up any breakthroughs that can happen from the Soviet team. The scenario is the Soviets are going to be attacking. We're not allowed to attack. We're only allowed to defend. We have 15 cards in this phase A, and phase B we're allowed to bring another 15, phase C another 15, and 30 minutes towards the end of the match, we're allowed to bring up every available unit we have. So those are the rules. I chose to go with fire support, go as many tanks in the beginning. Noob in action told me we didn't need any supplies then. He also gave me some advice before the start of the game, letting us know that the best way for us to take out those T-34-85s that you guys can see in the background right here menacingly was at 1,000 meters. Now, I took that advice to heart because we are at a disadvantage when it comes to our tanks. Those T-34-85s are definitely better than our Panzer tanks. And at a range of 1750, it's going to be a massacre. We also don't have as many. So we're also dealing with T-34-76s, played by Spec. T-34-85s, played by PP-85. And 2 infantry battalions, played by, I can't pronounce that, and Pharaoh. So in our team, we have our guys. Now in this match, we did have 2 guys who it was their second multiplayer game. So it's pretty cool to see new players coming into the game as well. He had just played a match with Noob in action and had immediately hopped into this game. No knowledge of anything, just decided to play. And in our team too, we had a guy who was also only had 2 games. Here he is right here. And this was a second online game, so we were pretty balanced. We had very experienced players and somewhat experienced players as myself, where we have knowledge of multiplayer games. We're not, I wouldn't say the best out there. We're okay, maybe. And you know, we also had novices. So there's an entire gap there of you know, it's just a balanced game in general. This isn't going to come down to experience. It's going to come down to just tactics and you know, tactics and where they decide to try to break through. And like I said, it's a little bit different than we're usually used to putting out there, due to the fact that we want to show both sides. You guys already know that we're already using the tanks, so as long as you see a Panzer tank out there, you know it's us. And everybody already knows what units they're using too, so it's pretty easy to know who is who, especially with us, since we're using the Panzer IVs. Let's fast forward this to start the match. Let's see. I didn't realize it took like 20 minutes. Okay, let's pause. Let's slow down and go. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't have it ready, but the match begins. As you can see, the Soviet team. Oh, another thing I did not mention about this historical battalion 4B4 is that if units did not have transportation, so they had to walk, they would have to actually physically walk into the battlefield. Tanks, you know, since they have the tracks, they can always come in. But physically, infantry units, machine guns, mortars, anything that did not have any type of transportation of the period, they will not have transportation. They will have to move in by foot. And that's something that was heavily enforced when the battalions were made. And just like I only have tanks, I don't have any type of other equipment. Now we're moving up some tanks as we feel like there might be a breakthrough through the center, as they're kept as mobile reserves. Some units have been spaced out around the map. One of the game plans we had on the German side was dividing both infantry players between the right and the left. Since we can only play, and I forgot to mention this here, on this side here, the flamers are only moving up here to keep track of these points. They'll let these points go on accident. This actually hurt them throughout the entire game because they didn't move their flamers on that side of the map. And this is the entire square we're playing right here. The square. It's an imaginary square. Now, they're only allowed to attack. We're only allowed to defend. We cannot press forward. We have to stay back and complete rolling back every single time. Let's bring this up here. Forgot to show you guys the players that were involved in this historical 4v4 for the Kingdom of Steel. Every single Saturday at 8 p.m. Make sure you join us. There will be a link to the Discord at the description of the video. The Kingdom of Steel is very welcoming to new players as well. So if you're a new player and you're looking for a place to call home, find matches, get yourself involved in tournaments, whatever you want to do. Just have a good time. Make sure you guys join the Kingdom Steel. Also, down in the description, you'll see our Discord, the Atlacat Regiment. We're trying to get more players also to get involved in the game. You guys can join, talk to us, set up games as well. We're a much smaller Discord. It's not many people there, but if you guys want to get something more with a lot more traction, players and everything, I still recommend you guys to go to Kingdom Steel. And as you can see, the offensive is going forward. They're advancing with their T-34s, advancing with their tanks, doing some fire support on some of the emplacements that we have placed around the map. Our barbed wire blocks them from trying to break through. And they can only attack on this one square here. If I recall right now, the main issue with the Soviet team was the lack of coordination. So we've already stated it before that there was new players on both sides. And the fact here, as you can see right now as the game starts, is that we're having a general offensive by the Soviets. They're launching an attack on the entire front. And I think this was due to the fact that the Soviet team was attacking each point by themselves. So each player was basically broken down to like small squares and just attacked whatever was in front of them. This was the major difference on the German team, is that we did not break down things like that. So like I said before, we had one guy on the left, one guy on the right, and the two mechanized units basically supporting both sides. So the mechanized infantry with Noob in action would support any breakthrough on this side here, and that would be the same thing with our tanks as well. So they were moving always mobile. And that was a strategy, defensive strategy we came in to counter this, because we expected to be rushed, especially on phase A. So let's see. We got our Panzer tanks moving up. This point became crucial. As stated before, these T-34s are going to be very vulnerable to these Panzer tanks at 1,000 meters, especially on the side armor. And this entire road here plays as a double. You can shoot here and keep them out of the center place here, or you can move them into these buildings and pounce on the T-34s. Either or. And while the infantry is pushing forward, a vulnerability broke out at those T-34s. I hid these Panzers here in expectation to have them try to break through the center. As you can see, it's nice and open. And here's where the Panzers decided to move. Knocked out one T-34. Another one was hit. One had the shells bounce. Another one gets hit. They're retreating as they're being damaged. Are we able to get another one? Yes, we do. Knocking out 2 of the 4. And in a way or another, eliminating the threat of these two T-34-85s here in the center. I can't speak for some reason, guys. These tanks, I think, are a little bit maybe too much to the right. I think we're only allowed to use this side here, maybe like right here. Maybe they're okay. I'm not sure. But they're not doing anything. They're just kind of hanging around. T-34s are moving on the right flank. Take out the command panzer after the massive artillery strike here. And now they're dealing with 2 Panzer tanks here. This is the range we do not want to be. We lose a Panzer tank, and that is due to the range itself. The Soviet team is now pushing heavily into the town as mortars are raining down on them. That house was just completely demolished. and they're bleeding into the sector here, creating a bridgehead around this small little village. But they have not captured the point yet. But some progress is being made. They capture the highway point here. T-34s are still doing some type of damage here to that machine gun and this infantry squad that's in this trench. Machine gun is firing, trying to stop the infantry push, but T-34s are also doing some fire support on the right-hand side. They're still pushing towards the center. Our Panzer tanks are also playing a dual role. Like I said before, they're also supporting the center here. They're firing into the small little village and firing outside of it. T-34 Panzer tank moves up here and starts dueling with this T-34-76. This Panzer tank itself knocks about four or five Panzers. I mean, not Panzers, T-34s. I just wasn't in a really good position. So there goes one. Got a half track moving up here. Noob in action supporting, trying to make that unit surrender. But there are some T-34s right here. He decides to retreat. Are they able to take him out, or is he able to escape? Oh, and they're getting hit by the Panzer tank. There's the duel. Panzer tank knocks out another T-34. Actually saves the half track. T-34 is taking some damage. Brown bounces off the Panzer. Is the Panzer tank going to be able to take it out? Does some really serious damage to it, but Smokescreen is able to save it. The half track gets knocked out, and there's still 3 T-34s inside the town. Oh, and that is 3. 3 T-34s knocked out around this vicinity here. There's 2 right there. And I'm not sure where the other one's at, but it has to be somewhere around here. And that's all to save that half track. Like I said before, we can't actually lose too many units, as we're only allowed to use 15 cards per phase. As soon as you start seeing reinforcements, that's when you know phase B has started, and now we're in phase B. Units that were not, like I said before, did not have transportation are going to have to walk. So these mortar units are just going to have to make their way up while these half tracks are moving in. These half tracks here with the AT spec ones did very good in this match. They were actually even able to take out T-34-85s, especially at close range. Multiple T-34s were knocked out that way. Now we have about 2 platoons of T-34s coming on to the left-hand side. We got another artillery strike prepping already. That's probably going to launch pretty soon. More infantry are making their way up to the front lines. Slowly, I would say. And here comes the next artillery strike. See where it lands. And it does some damage. Panzer tank is still there watching. And we see more T-34s arrive. And there's quite a big buildup going on. And we have 2 platoons now on each side watching over. And with a possible breakthrough. Panzer tanks are in position in case this happens. I'm guessing they're going to try to attack these Panzer tanks. Oh, and the mortar strike just knocks out some anti-air units. And more tanks are coming in, more infantry. Just look at that, the mass. One mistake the Soviet team has done is just massing too many troops. And not really making any breakthroughs. Flamers here are also a problem here. They never They never showed up on this side of the map. So with the map being reduced, they were supposed to have some flamers here just to keep track of the flags, but I guess they didn't do that until later in the game, I guess. And wacky things like this you can do when you're a member of a clan. So remember, guys, in the description there's going to be a link to the Kingdom of Steel Discord. If you guys want to join and do cool events like these, like historical battles, you know, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more of this stuff. We're going to probably be playing more of these games with the Kingdom as well. And if you guys also want to participate, make sure you also sign up to the Kingdom of Steel if you guys want to take part in some of these historical battles, tournaments, or anything like that. Really cool community, as I said before. Cool guys. If you guys want to get training, there's people there that can help you out. As you guys know, I'm not the best player out there myself, so I appreciate the fact that I can be part of these events. You know, it's a lot of fun. And this historical battle was just a lot of fun, really. Yeah, it was quite a lot of enjoyment. The rules were, you know, it's the first time we've played this. This is the first event, so, you know, they were going to be, everything was basically a learning process. So hopefully in the next game, things get fleshed out and we have a better experience. Personally, for me, I had a great one. I enjoyed it. And we just, if you guys can see, another Panzer was killed here. Actually not sure how it was killed. I'm guessing it was the tanks here. And there's a concern now with a bunch of T-34-85s massing on the left. These T-34s are doing some fire support on a machine gun, or no, AT gun emplacement over there. And these tanks right now are on standby. It seems this T-34 that has been knocking out T-34s from the beginning, there was a ton of them, if you guys remember, here that got knocked out, just knocked out another one. Or at least it killed the crew. Yeah, they're bailed out. There's nobody there, but still trying to claim the kill. Oh, and a T-34, right? I mean, a Panzer IV just got knocked out there. That T-34 over here just finally got killed. That's a total of 4 T-34s. I have no idea why I want to keep calling them Panzers. They're T-34s, but for some reason we keep calling them Panzer tanks. And this point here is extremely important. Like I said before, you can get the ambush on them right now. They've captured the center field, but they haven't gone past the barbed wire. There's a half track that was burned down here. And they're making some progress. Here we can see the massive infantry making their way down that one flag they've captured here. So far they've captured 2 flags, and they've made some significant progress, at least for the time being. T-34s are just knock out a Panzer IV. Now they're shooting at some of the artillery pieces there. We only have 1 Panzer here right now after a massive airstrike and this massive T-34s here. And we can see a concerned effort here for some type of little push. Infantry trying to break through the center. They get killed. Or they're pinned down. Almost dead. Oh, they're dead now. And these T-34s are trying to make a breakthrough. They're getting shot by these Panzers. But this Panzer is vulnerable right now at range. Yet they're still able to fight them off. But the unfortunate thing here is Our Panzer might be out of range, but I'm pretty sure these T-34s aren't. More reinforcements are being brought up. We're bringing another Panzer up here. Noob in action is bringing up a half-track. These are, like I said before, very effective throughout the match. And more mechanized infantry is arriving here to plug up the gap with these T-34s trying to push in. This side here is pretty quiet. They are making a concerted effort in the center with the massive infantry. Our Panzer IV is going to try to intercept. And this Panzer tank is vulnerable right now. At this range, they will knock it out. We did lose another Panzer tank around here. Here, I believe. And those Panzer tanks were moved over to this side of the field. This Panzer moves out because it's vulnerable. Moves back up to try to see if it can score a kill. Might have been a mistake. May have been a bridge too far. Let's see. Does it kill anything? Oh, gets knocked out. And these Panzers over here supporting the this gap here. We have, I don't think we have any reinforcements. They're all spread around different zones. We have some Panzers here. A Panzer here that's still overlooking this area. And these Panzers here. So until we get reinforcements, we are in a tight spot. Mechanized infantry is over here to stop any plug any gaps. And there should be more tanks arriving soon. At the moment right now, we've played them what we can with our cards. And they're being stopped right now by a lot of mortars. There hasn't been any. Well, they're trying to cross the barbed wire now. Another T-34 just got knocked out over there. Now we've moved up our Panzer tanks into the ambush position. Knock one T-34 out. Has his turret stuck. Killed. See if we can take out the whole platoon. As you can see, that half track was doing some damage over there. Another T-34 is knocked out. Launch, get another attack on it. There we go. Turret is stuck. See if we can knock out the whole platoon. Another one is out. That was knocked out by that T-34. I mean that Panzer IV over there. Panzer has its transmission damage as he's engaging the T-34 close up. Gets knocked out. And this Panzer tank is doing a 1v1 with that T-34 at about less than 1,200 meters of range. Both are close to being completely knocked out. Will the Panzer tank knock out the T-34? And it does. Panzer tank that was defending this area was knocked out. That was the ace. And now Panzer tank is trying to support. What happens here? Oh, it took a shot right to the front, and he knocks out the Panzer tank. Well, it was still a concerted effort. These guys were still able to stop this push here. They had knocked out 2 prior T-34s, 85s, and they were able to knock out 4 more. And that's due to the fact that these tanks are spread out pretty evenly, that they can support each other. Even if they got this close, they had to deal with these guys. Even if they got this close here, they had to deal with him here. This close here was a danger because these T-34s were quite effective against our tanks that were already, quite vulnerable from the hits they took before. As the more damage the units do, especially when they're penetrated, the less damage they can take. Panzer IVs are trying to support this here. Still at 1,500 meters. So we're still at a dangerous range. We want to squeeze this out and get it as close as we can to 1,000 meters. But the Panzer is going to shoot anyway. More Panzers are coming up. So we now got our reinforcements. There's no real breakthrough at the moment. This Panzer tank is firing. Here comes a massive mortar strike right here. cluster of units right here. And we got some Earth fighters in the air right now. Oh, they're not Earth fighters. Why did I just think we're the Soviets? I don't know why. Maybe I'm crazy. Another T-34 just got knocked out. I don't know what knocked it out. I want to think it's these half tracks, because they've been deadly to these tanks this entire match. Especially this one right here. Oh, not this one. There was another one here. Where'd it go? Here, this one. Pretty sure he moved it. And that mortar strike is just hammering down the Soviet team. The bridgehead hasn't moved. They control some of the trenches and buildings. And they have some fighter aircraft in the sky. That's why it was important to move these tanks whenever you could. We have mechanized infantry staying on the sides, waiting for any exploits. Same thing with the tanks. They're just building up. Here goes a drive-by by Panzer. And they're engaging that T-34. As you can see, the T-34s and their heavy tanks are hanging out mostly on the flanks. I understand that, you know, you want to try to cover the entire battlefield, but the major mistake on the Soviet team right now is not concentrating these heavier tanks here in the center. It isn't like we had a massive advantage. We only had these Panzer IVs. Here comes a brutal rocket strike. And is able to make our Panzer IVs retreat. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Because they haven't made any progress. Their tanks are just hanging out on the flanks. Nothing is concentrating in the center. Everything is just on the flanks. They built up more T-34s. At least a platoon or two over here, or half a platoon. And they have another platoon here, just retreating and firing back, popping some rounds, and then just getting back. And they've only sent this one tank here. So everything that's gone through the town, which is like these carcasses of these T-34s, has just been the older variants. So you can see them knocked out all over the place. The amount of half tracks that were lost here just looks like this terrible battlefield. Look at that, and you can't really see anything different, anything like this in any other game. Got some recon aircraft in the sky. They're bringing up more infantry, I believe. Or they're bringing up here. The mortars haven't made it all the way up yet. They don't have any transport, so they have to walk all the way up. Everything's pretty quiet right now. Last 2 minutes of the game. T-34s are going to try to make another push. And they're trying again. There's another one of their Cook brothers right there. It's one of the lower variants, T-34-76. Another one was knocked out there. There's a T-34-85 there. More T-34s knocked out over there too. They littered basically the whole battlefield. These Panzer tanks are holding out here. As there's a massive mortar strike coming in. And there's still reserves of everything here. as other grenadier squads and platoons are trying to make their way up. There's another platoon of tanks here, another platoon moving this way. So we have enough units to cover the map. And there's plenty of tanks out. We have tanks here to cover any breakthrough. These guys are just trying to stop anything coming from here. Tanks or infantry. These guys are moving into range. Have a nasty day if they get any closer. And the platoon's moving up. With a minute left in the game. Look at all that fire and aircraft coming through. Oh, and somebody just got shot down or what? What was that? And there's not really any movement. Another T-34 was knocked out, but that was knocked out by the emplacement. No push here. They're just still waiting. And they're bringing in more infantry in the town, but there's not going to be much of an effect because we have mortars, we have tanks. We can fill those gaps in. And this is the problem with doing a general offensive, is they should have just attacked this point. If they would have done that, they could have broken through here and done a lot of damage. Instead, they made limited gains. And their tanks are under heavy mortar strikes. Outside of being ambushed, these tanks also fell victim to the self-propelled mortars, or just regular ones. And that ends the game. Wonder how we got a minor defeat, though. Huh. But it was a good game. You can see our points are 1365. We only play as the tanks. We did take some armored losses as well. Noob in action did good. The entire team did really well. As you can see here, this guy here, second game. Second game. He had the second game, his online history. He had come back from another 1v1 he had lost, and he came into this historical battalion battle with basically little notice. Another player here too. This is their second online match, and honestly, it was a treat to bring to you guys because this is something a little bit different than we used to bring it in. You know, different than the 10v10s, the 3v3s, you know, 4v4s we've done, or the 1v1s. We're bringing you something a little bit different with a little bit different taste. So I hope you guys enjoy this. You know, this historical battle. We'll have more of these coming out if the clan decides to do more. I know next week we'll have another game. So if you guys want to go ahead and join us, that'd be cool. Now, if you guys want to see more of this content, go ahead and like it. The likes really help us a lot. Subscribe, and I hope I'll catch you guys in the next video.